Hello viewers, welcome to Civic Space TV. My name is Naiga Madrin and I'm excited to be back. Yes, every Saturday at 3 p.m. we are here as Women Rise, Women at the Front Lines. We get to host exciting women that have inspiring stories, exciting stories, and are doing incredible work in society, in community. So we get a chance to meet them, listening to their stories, how they're doing, and challenges here and there, and how they're able to keep doing whatever they're doing in society. So with these stories, we learn a lot from them and take one or two things from their stories to also change our communities, our societies, wherever we come from. Welcome again, and today I have a young woman. Yes, I must say, and I have been practicing how to pronounce her name, but I hope she will forgive me. But Buwule, Doreen. Did I say that well? Doreen. Yes. Doreen is a journalist by profession, and she's a CEO of Todd Store and the director at Kamongo Community Development Foundation. And in particular about Doreen's story, she was a young mother. Yes, she was at university and conceived twice before graduation. So if you are a girl there out there and you're going through the same situation, a parent, you have a girl who was, conceived at a very young age, don't push them away. Bring them closer to you and support them, encourage them, be there for them. You never know after giving birth what they can become. Yes, they can also become something better. So don't push these girls away. Bring them closer and support them. So we have a living testimony here. She didn't give up and she continued with her education, and now she's here with us today. She's going to share her story. I believe we are going to learn a lot from her story. She's doing credible work with the Todd Store and of course Kamongo Community Development Foundation. So Doreen, you're very welcome.
Thank you.
How are you?
I am good. I'm very good. Thank you for hosting me,
Yeah.
Madrin.
Yes. Doreen is a journalist by profession, but off cameras, she told me she didn't want this journalism of being on camera. Yes, before the camera. Yes, she preferred behind the cameras. But we are here with her today, and we are going to know more about her. So Doreen, to our viewers who do not know who Doreen is, how do you describe yourself in simple terms?
Doreen Buwule is my name. I am I'm an old person now, no longer young. But I am a female who has 2 children. I'm also an aspiring social entrepreneur who is the CEO of Little Todd Store, which is located in Pelere.
Yes.
I also am a very passionate person about women, especially finances, independence in finances with women, and especially those that are either stay-at-home mothers or are in relationships which are dysfunctional and they are single mothers.
Yeah.
So that is briefly who I am. Yes.
Okay. Buwule, someone would say Buwule, Buwule. Where do you come from?
I come from, if I die today, I will be buried in Sironko.
Okay.
And I'm a Gishu by tribe. My mom and dad live in Bale currently. So I'm generally a Gishu.
A Gishu.
Buwule is a
Buwule.
name from the hills.
Yeah.
Yes.
How are the hills? When do you go to Sironko district, or you're usually in Kampala?
Not very often as I would like to, because of course you have so many things holding you up here in Kampala, but
true.
I would love if it were possible every weekend because it's a beautiful space. It's away from the jam, away from the Kampala
Yeah.
stress and everything else. So, but every once in a while, you travel back and see the hills and hike, and then come back home to
Okay,
hustle.
Doreen, so growing up as a young woman, where you grew up from, how was your childhood like? Which kind of child were you when you're growing up?
I am a last born
Okay.
of 5 children, and I came when all the problems were finished.
You
So
received all the love from everyone
yes,
in the
and
family.
all the envy from my sibling, my
yeah.
elders. So I was pampered, but in a rural way, not this Kampala ways.
Yeah. It's okay. Yes.
I was pampered naturally. Normally, when I felt sick, there was soda. When others fell sick, they were just tablets.
Yeah.
So growing up, my life was not that bad. We had almost everything we wanted. I attended school very well. Generally, I was loved
You were loved.
because I was the last born.
Yeah.
And I came at the right time when problems were a little bit few
Yeah.
in the family. So we grew up that way. But one memory that sticks out for me is growing up with my dad. One of our bonding experiences was the teaching moment. He was a primary science teacher, and everything he called was a learning experience. He would get a leaf and immediately it would turn into name the parts of the leaf. I held a frog, a live frog, I think even before I could run. And it was my dad. He would tell you, pick those things and drop them out. So I learned the parts of a frog when I was really young. He would dissect chicken and he would tell you the parts of the chicken inside there. So I think for me, that was one of the memories that most children don't have. That for me, I feel, I got to know so many things in science.
Science. And then here I see you're a journalist by profession.
Yeah.
Where did this love go? For science.
For science.
You had things to practice.
Parents. Parents.
Yeah.
When I was growing up, my mom wanted a lawyer out of me. My dad wanted a doctor out of me.
And you yourself, what did you want?
I didn't know what I want when I was growing up.
Yeah.
But that was how they directed me. And then towards, I think, senior 4, I got to realize that, yes, I did not perform that poorly in sciences, but they gave me a headache. And I decided to do a combination of arts, and the main goal was to be a lawyer, because it was one of those prestigious, careers that were there by then. So I wanted to be a lawyer so bad. I did, by then it was HEGD. That's what I studied, and I excelled.
Yeah.
No, I didn't do literature. I did history, economics, geography, and divinity. Then general paper before, they changed the combination settings. So at a career guidance event at HSC, one guy, he is Ugandan, but he had practiced his accountancy in Kenya, explained to us how careers work and how he didn't feel satisfied with his career as an accountant. And I started thinking about being a lawyer. And the phobia for attention. I was like, you have to be in a suit, smart from Monday to, Friday, especially if there are court cases.
Yes.
I was like,
You don't want to be that kind.
I didn't want to be uptight from Monday, so many days of the month, and you just have to be so uptight. And I knew I could win at debates because I had done it. I knew I could give a very good argument and you would buy it. But I was like, I want to have a bit of chill. And by then, journalism was this chill kind of, profession where people seemed to like what they do. The people that, were depicting it by then, they seemed to have life, and I wanted to have that life. So when I was applying for a course at campus, nobody helped me because I knew they all wanted me to be a lawyer. So I just chose to do journalism by myself. I actually gave it 3. You know how they put the first course, the second course, and for me all the 3 way for journalism and communication and Makerere. And then, of course, I put some business at Mobs and all that. But generally, I just wanted to do journalism, and I was given. Yeah.
Ah, okay. And journalism, you've explained to us you wanted journalism.
Yeah.
Did you practice this? Are you practicing this?
I could say I haven't practiced like I had thought I would. Because the goal was finish, apply at Daily Monitor, or like I wanted to deal with radio or paper, print.
Yeah.
So my main targets were Daily Monitor or New Vision or one of the radio stations in the country. I did my internship at Magic, so I thought that would be an easy way in, but it's a government institution, so yeah, payroll and all that, it's not that easy. I did a few freelance, send stories to Monitor, but I never really got through. So with time, there was an opportunity for public relations, so I just went into public relations and have not practiced journalism the way I had really thought I would while studying it.
So you went and studied public relations? Or?
When you're studying journalism, especially at campus here in Makerere, they give you both. They give you both worlds, and then in year 4, you choose. You choose if you want to just generally be a PR or you want to go, journalism. So I chose journalism, hoping that that's where I was going to go. But then, I was like, PR works. So I practiced PR, I think, for a long time. And of course, you go back, you learn a few things. And since I had a very long period of study, I used to go back to class and just have some of those PR classes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Long time of study here
Long
with
time.
us. The most inspirational part of your story, Doreen. Tell us about this experience. You had a very long time of study.
Yeah.
What happened? How did it happen? We want to know all about that.
That's it's a very interesting take on life.
Yeah.
I think I learned everything I need to know about life through my campus life. I was protected growing up. Like I said, I was the last born.
The last born.
I went to single-sex schools, O-level, A-level. And then when I was at campus, I was exposed. Heavily exposed, and because of the experience I had gone through, especially with O-level and A-level.
Where did you have your A-level and O-level? Kampala or Sironko?
No. I did my primary in Butaleja district, that is Duberok Primary School. It's still there. And then I did my O-level at Tororo Girls School. It is in Tororo. And then I came to Matuga. The school is called Cornerstone Leadership Academy Girls. Yeah, it's part of the Cornerstone schools in Uganda. So, and it's just a girls' school. So, I came from Tororo Girls School, which preached women of substance. Be a woman of substance, don't do this, don't do that. And they held you at a certain standard or level that they wanted you to mature at. And then I go to HSC, which was practically a Pentecostal church. I should say it had values. The motto is Proverbs 31. So that is it. Proverbs 31 woman is the motto, and that's what they expect every girl that goes through the school to be. So it was high pedestal. And I came from there to Makerere where there is life. So I was free at last, and I nobody was going to follow me. Nobody was going to tell me to be in a fellowship, join a fellowship, do that. I was tired with fellowships, unfortunately. I think I shouldn't have gotten tired, but I was really tired with fellowships. So when I joined the campus,
no one will tell you where you're coming from.
No one.
Go back.
Nobody will tell you you're dressing badly.
Yeah.
For the first year, my very first year at campus, I put on shorts and baggy t-shirts because I thought that was what was me. And then with time, I was like, okay, this is not a girl kind of style. Let me try. I started dresses, and so it was a whole experiment for me. The whole campus life was an experiment. I joined in 2013 to do a course of 4 years. I finished in 2023.
Wow.
So
Indeed, a very long.
a very
Yeah, it was very long.
it was a very long
Yeah.
one, but I learned
Every
everything
lot, yeah.
that has shaped me today through campus. In my first year, I was ambitious. I knew I had come to conquer. I had the best values. I had been trained well. The teachers had a lot of hopes, especially the teachers that had taught us. They knew what we were capable of, and they kept around. They could, call you up but then with time, it felt lonely, because in my cohort, I was the only one doing that course, and journalism and communication. And then coming to the community that I was based in, that you kept going back to. All your friends are making new friends, or they are like 3 or 4, for you just one. And then you realize, you know what? Campus is not for the weak or the poor. I had a button phone, a Kamapesa. A brother of mine had given it to me. And I reached camp class the very first week. People had tabs. I don't know why people carried laptops in the first week of campus.
Serious.
But there were laptops in class first week. I was like, okay, now this. Every time somebody called me on that button phone, I died. I would switch it off throughout the whole.
Put it out.
Yes. So there was that inferiority complex that set in, especially with finances, and it set me a little bit to the back. And yet I was what people would say I was one of the best. But then you would enter class and you're like, it seems I am not.
Yeah.
So I sat at the back for a bit. I didn't make so many friends. Most of the people that wanted to be my friends were not in my head. My head had already told me they are not your class. They were rich people. So I was like, what will I say?
Yeah.
How, they're talking about clubs. I haven't been to a club.
So small.
Yes, I was out of place for a long time. And then I fell into rhythm. I found people that were out of place like me. We became friends. But I felt more worth when I was with the community that taught me in HSE. So that's where I put all my energy instead of academics. I decided I'm going to be in this space until it will compensate for what I lacked the other side in class. And I took on leadership roles at campus, heading, so Cornerstone schools have a tendency of following up their students right through. Finish HSC, you go to campus, they follow you through. You're done with campus, they follow you through. So it becomes like part of your family. So they had a grouping in campus, and they had initiated something they call Africa Youth Leadership Forum. And when I just joined, because they knew I had potential, they gave me the leadership to lead the students there. I led them, and I felt there they knew who I was. In class, nobody knew me.
So
but the other side,
comfortable with you.
yes.
Yeah, true.
And I spent a lot of time the other side, not concentrating on my academics. So in year 2, I had accumulated a number of retakes. So class wasn't worth it. I was tired of being a leader at the Africa Youth Leadership Forum. I needed a break the other side. They felt it was too early to let me go. So I distanced from the leadership position, and I distanced from school. And then I got other places.
Where are you now?
I got other places where I saw, So around that time is where I saw a man.
Yeah.
And and they say when you don't have experience, you don't know how to guard yourself. In a very few months I was pregnant. And with cut the retakes, get the pregnancy, I wasn't really going to go further. I got a dead year then and first sat.
How do you even communicate to mom and dad? They are last born.
We had a policy. When I left home, I've left. I think it grew over time. Like, I leave home, they explain to you the situation at home, okay? You come to school knowing you've come to study.
Yes.
There is not a lot of finances that you're
At
going to
home.
keep calling home to get. So when they give you, for example, they give you pocket cash, that is it. Until they think about you next time, you will not ask for money. But the good thing was this scholarship, this Cornerstone thing had given me a scholarship, and there was another scholarship. So I was on scholarships at campus.
Okay.
And my dad was a bit adamant. He has that, they shouldn't say I wasn't able to. So he would give you some amount of money that would really add up. So I had money. It wasn't that I did not have money. I just did not know what really happened. It just kind of crashed. The scholarships, I couldn't communicate that I was getting a dead year. So the scholarship kept paying cash. My dad kept sending money.
Oh, and you're silent.
And I was, you know, nudging that baby. So it until when it was really late, I decided to share with my father with the scholarships, because they were close by, they were around Kampala. I just talked to a few people who spread the word that, you know, and I'm not studying, I am pregnant. Yeah. So I didn't officially communicate to any of the people that were responsible.
So when you think of getting a dead year, who brings this idea to you that, you know, let me first get a dead year and then focus on raising this child? Before you even communicated to your parents?
It was an option. It was just an option. It's information that is current at universities, you know. But for me, the reason which overpushed me to get that dead year was the retakes. I had so many.
Yeah.
I had so many, and I didn't know what to do with all of them. And I just couldn't go further, because even if I went, I would still have to come back. And then, of course, when pregnancy comes in, the community I was coming from was really, it had that out of wedlock stigma, and it was worse. The person that I was pregnant by was a Muslim, not Christian. So I was dealing with...
Complicated.
Yeah, I fell in soup.
Yes,
I just fell in soup.
It was very complicated.
It was very
complicated. So you don't even tell family that you're, you know, applying for a dead year?
I didn't.
You didn't?
I didn't.
So how old was the pregnancy when you decide to, you know, inform people at home?
At home, around that time my mom fell sick. So I thought it was good the last time I might see her. So I told her. That was in 2016. She really felt so ill. So I traveled back home, and I thought this might be my last time, because if they discover I'm pregnant and by a Muslim, they might just chase me out of the family or the clan or something. So I went home knowing that her being an older person, she will see me and notice. But because she was sick, I think she just didn't give me a lot. Nobody noticed, and it was 3 months then.
It was still.
So I told her when I was coming back to Kampala, I was like, you know what, this has happened. And she was like, you're lying. She couldn't believe it.
Oh dear.
And but you know, mothers, she was pissed.
Yeah.
She had to conceal it. She didn't know what to do, but she couldn't tell me to abort, because that was the norm, really. Every girl can abort at campus. So she couldn't tell me to abort. When I came to Kampala, I knew that was the last time I was ever going to go back home. So when I came to Kampala, I was residing at a residency owned by Cornerstone. I was like, before they also chased me, I chased myself. I left the premises.
So to where now?
To the guy's place.
So he welcomed it.
He didn't have an option. He didn't have an option. So I just came in. I was like, whatever happens now, I am on my own. So I stuck there. I told my dad 11 days to me actually giving birth.
You mean mom had not
She,
told?
she said, you don't have, I cannot tell him, you have to go through your senga.
Oh dear.
And I was naive. I was like, now go through the senga. Who, for what? That would be like they're tying me down. They'll be like, now get married. And I wasn't ready for marriage.
Yeah.
I was like, it's not yet time for me to get married. But at the end of the day, I actually didn't talk to my sengas at all. I got a phone. I called. 11 days for me.
Dad, I'm almost.
Yeah, I told him, you know what, I am almost, it's been 8 months. I think, no, it was 9 months then, because I gave birth 2 weeks early. So it was 9 months. I was like, you know what, I am pregnant, I've been pregnant, I have not been studying. That's when he also knew that part as well.
That you've not been at school.
Yeah, and he had been sending money, tuition. So he didn't give me a lot of headache then. When I asked later, my mom said, he said, you are in a critical condition, he will quarrel when you're done giving birth. So that's what happened. 11 days after that, I gave birth. And then I think 4 days after that, my dad came to Kampala.
To check on you.
First time, him coming to Kampala. He came with an intention of arresting the guy. Yes. Unfortunately
so
for him,
to the anger,
yes,
until you're done with giving birth.
the baby is out, the mother is now fine, now let's attack. So that's unfortunately for him, the guy was a bit connected. So the police people that he wanted to use were his friends. So one of my brothers actually advised him not to do that, so that it's easier. Maybe just put a few sanctions here and there. And he did. No marriage until she's done with university. There was, and they came from a place of anger and disappointment. And so it would be understandable.
True.
But that was when everything changed. I think that's when I actually saw that consequences are real, because all the scholarships faded.
Yeah.
With that realization, all the scholarships ended. Then Muzei was like, now that you've decided to be an adult and you haven't finished, I will do half and you will do half your tuition. And yeah, he was firm with that for one semester. And then he finally just gave me the tuition all through. Oh. Yeah, so it was a moment to reflect on all your mistakes for life, but I thank my parents for not giving up on me and for not forcing me to get married then. Because most parents, when that happens, they either force the guy to come home and you do the official duties there and then, and that's it. And then this girl lives in this marriage, maybe, in a misery or something.
Most of them will not even want to know what happens to you after. Yes. So I'm really happy when you said your dad had to travel to Kampala. Yeah, maybe to arrest the guy, but
also to see where I was.
He wanted to see you.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow.
But that was just the beginning of everything.
You mean we still have more?
That was just the beginning.
So this baby has come through. You're a young person.
Yes.
Experience. You're not with your mother.
Yeah.
Motherhood comes with a lot. And so how do you handle
the
a young mother?
The first few months were bliss. Not so tough, because when you're preparing for something, you hear all these horrible stories. The child will cry all through, you'll do this and that.
You barely know nothing.
Yeah, you really don't know a lot. And then for the first 2 weeks, because of course, how the whole thing had happened, I kept moving up and down. My dad gave me an order, go to your elder sister's place. I was there for a week. And then after that week, that's where I learned from how to clean the baby. So I got my first learning from there. And then after a few weeks, they told me, head home, come home. I went home. I stayed there for also a week. So for the first 3 weeks, the first month, it was just learning here and there, and grasping.
You had support.
Yes, I had support. And also that's the time when the president had given a directive to close Makerere University in 2016. So I had an indefinite, God was working behind the closed doors. He just, towards me giving birth, the guy said, closed. I had a few months after some few months, I went to give birth. I had so many months in between for me to even just focus on the child so that I can be able to maybe, learn a few things. And then I had all the assistance I needed. And the guy was present, he was there. So it was tough when school resumed and I went to reapply.
Had to go back, yes.
Yes, it was tough. The kid had grown. He would now walk and sit. But, you've been with the child all through. We had help at home. We had people that would stay with the child. But because it wasn't part of the routine before, now you have to fit in with the routine. And I was on evening programs. So evening programs usually had weekend extensions. And it was tough. Evening would be easy because Monday to Friday, 2 to around 5 or 8 or 10 or whatever, it was okay. People would be home. But weekend was in the morning. 7 a.m. you're in class. And at 7 a.m. nobody really wants to be with your child. And for most of the retakes that I got after that were for me not attending Saturday classes. Because they were very practical. They would give marks in classes, and when you don't attend, you don't get. So whether you did the exam or you didn't do the exam, when you don't have those backup results, you really don't make it. So I gave up some of my classes just to make sure that, But at that point in time, because I had done so many mistakes, I just wanted it to go step by step. So if I knew that I would do maybe that semester's course units, which were possibly 6 or 7, if I could do that with one retake, that is enough.
So Doreen, you've had this baby, you've gone back to school. What happens? Do you complete school, or what happens exactly after you've gone back?
I re-enroll. I re-enroll because when you do a dead year, you follow the process still, ask to re-enroll. I go back to school and I study.
Yes.
But I have a backlog of dead years, of retakes, sorry.
Mm.
So I keep just trying to make sure that I finish a year as it comes. If that year comes and I have finished all the course units of that year, that's a plus for me. Plus getting tuition, because remember now my dad was not as willing. Like before, yes. So I got jobs in between to just get money to do maybe courseworks and buy handouts here and there. So I worked. There's a time when I will never forget that professor. He was a social science professor. And he sat me down. I had missed some of his classes. He sat me down and told me, you cannot be a mother at your age. You cannot be working and studying at your age.
You're managing.
So you have, you have to choose what you are. Otherwise, I'm giving you a retake. Okay. And I had worked so hard.
You were going to break down.
I broke down in his office. But that talk gave me, it redirected me, because now I started to realize, being a mother was automatic. There was nothing really I was going to change about it. But then making sure that I finished school was important, and I wanted to do it.
And I know you wanted to prove to Daddy that, you
not
gave
just
me this chance.
Not just Daddy.
I can do
I wanted to prove to myself that I cannot study from primary and just end up being a dropout at university. I wanted to prove to the community, the Cornerstone community, that
you had your scholarships.
Yes. I even if I gave birth, I can still finish school. I wanted to fight that stigma. I also wanted to prove to my dad that, you know what, your efforts were not worthless.
Yeah.
So I had to finish. And I talked to my boss at that time. And I was like, I am studying. I had never been honest with him because I would just sneak out. I'd be like, I'm going to the field. And then I don't show up for the next 3 or 4 hours. And then I come in the afternoon. So I started to tell him, authentically, he's called Dr. Livingstone Mukasa. I told him I study and I work. So I'll be running away from your office once in a while to go and just do a paper, because it was twice a week. And that lecturer wanted you in class. We were in that class with Ronald Mainja, and he never dodged a class. So who was I,
Doreen to dodging lectures.
So I was like, I have to really pass this class. So I was able to finish the normal process, because after dead year, you add like a full year. But then even after that year, I had retakes. So I kept going back. I kept going back to just do 1 or 2, 3 retakes, but that was on me now. My dad was like, you're done. The normal process, the normal 4 years or 5 years that you've added yourself are done. So what's left? Yeah, it's you. And then they started saying, why are you not graduating? And madam like, why am I not graduating?
Yeah.
So I just decided to make sure that I graduate. And there's a time when I was close to graduating. I think it was 2019. Close to graduating. And then I reached collecting all my marks. And one lecturer said, you have 49. I'm like, I cannot have 49. I've been here too long. And I was 49. Ready. I was ready to graduate. It was just 1 mark. And it was in a second semester, and that was just a first semester. I was like, okay, even if I tried to do it and they rushed marking it, I'm still not going to graduate. I have to wait. So I waited. 2019 passed, and then 2022 came. I waited for second semester, and then you wait for compilation.
And that was also the time 2019 COVID came in.
Yes. Yeah. Actually, that's the time when I told my parents I'm going to graduate, and I knew I was going to graduate. Until when another lecturer was like, no, there's a lecturer who misplaced your marks. And remember, this is a long span of time. Since 2013, I had been taught by several lecturers who had even moved on and left the campus.
True.
I said, some lecturer misplaced your marks. If you could track them. And so that I looked for the lady. She was a lady. She had left and she was into business now. She was like, I don't have any records.
So you had to redo.
I had to redo that as a missing paper. They accepted me to do it as a missing paper because it was their fault, not mine. And that's why I graduated in 2023.
2023.
So my dad sat home waiting for my name to be read during Corona, because it was televised graduation. And my name was nowhere. And I couldn't tell them again that, you know what? Even this year,
I'm not graduating.
I'm not on the list. So I actually told them the actual time when I was going to graduate, when it was just a month to graduation, because I was like, I'm not going to repeat what I did last year. So let me wait. When the time is right and my name is in the book, I will share.
So Doreen, in between here, before graduation, you had another baby.
Oh, yes.
Yes. So you had this one after finishing the 4 years old. You still had a few retakes to complete.
It was just 2 retakes to complete. I gave birth to my second child in 2022. So it was way after. And of course, the way there were these things, you are not yet married. But I was like, my first child is growing too fast. And I know most of us make that mistake when you produce the first child and then you take too long. You start to have baby fever too much. And the mere fact that you haven't yet moved out, maybe you are not single mother, you're still in a setting of a family, mother, father in the baby. So I was like, it's just taking too long. But the plan was graduate first and then,
another one.
But this one was just my own wanting. I just decided to give birth. Yeah.
Okay, so here, 2023, you graduate.
I graduate.
Yes.
I graduate. It was a point to prove. Of course, it was long overdue. Everybody had waited for too long. People had given up. And when I told people that, you know what, my name is in the book, they're like, you're lying. But officially I was read. And in the tent, what was funny was in the tent, I knew nobody. remember, I have gone through like 3 or 4 generations
Many
of
years.
classes.
Yeah.
So most of them don't know me, I don't know them. And the good thing is they have this solidarity
Did
where
your
they just
parents
shout
travel?
names. Yes, my dad traveled. He did travel. Yeah, so it was satisfactory, really. Yeah.
So the experience of you being the last born at home, you take long to graduate. So how was the experience? All your, challenges, some of the issues you've mentioned, some of them during the conversation. But what are the issues that stood out for you during this process of you conceiving, having to redo the retakes, and all that? The issues that came within campus, your friends, your family. Yes.
I think for me it was a bit unique.
Mm.
None of my elders had gone through university.
Oh.
Yes, so it was me. And you know how everybody hopes that you're taking the family up and then you decide to let them
Oh
down.
dear.
So it was a unique experience.
Yeah.
My brothers
You
had
you
gone.
really had to graduate.
I had to. My
Yeah.
brothers had gone to possibly diplomas and they had graduated, but at lower levels. My sister is a primary teacher. She followed in the footsteps of our parents. So the rest was just, everybody was like, you are there. What is happening? Graduate. So it was unique in itself. And it was just a point to prove, really, because this cornerstone institution or system has a way of picking people from different backgrounds. And they pick hoping that you have the potential to change the world. So them investing some amount of resources in you and you let them down. That also was weighing on my back. I was like, they said I have this much potential. Am I just going to let my potential be of motherhood just? So it usually dawned on me. But the biggest challenges that I faced, and I think I overcame, with the stigma of producing out of wedlock, producing with a Muslim man. And I think those were the biggest for me. With campus, it was the normal hustle and bustle. Go here, go there, retakes here and there. By the time I left campus, all the lecturers knew me and they would just ask, you're still here? So
Yeah.
it was kind of, like I said, it was just an amazing experience, even with its mistakes. It was an amazing. I had never known that I would be as close to a lecturer as I was then. I never knew that I would meet the people that I met during my time of confusion that I met. There are many people who are responsible, who would meet you and they're like, you have this much potential. You know, you just need to get there. You just have to choose to be that. So even when you'd see the challenges, when you look back right now, or when, in the process, you're like, I met the most amazing people during that period of my life.
Yeah. So Doreen, you've been in this situation, and there are very many girls, even up to date, many girls that face what you went through. So what is your advice to these young girls, but of course to their parents? Because many parents are not able to push them further after this mistake has happened, not because they don't have the finances, but some parents just feel too disappointed, and they let go. So these girls are left there with nowhere to go. Yeah, so we've seen many aborting, and then some will give birth and then, leave the kids, abandon the babies. So what advice would you give to these girls that are facing exactly what you went through, or even to our parents?
I have been fortunate that in my journey I have met girls like me. Some who even were disappointed with themselves first before anybody else was.
True.
So for me, to the girls at campus, it is that's the time you choose to write your own story. Mistakes are human, and parents have this tendency, you knew what you were doing, so but for you, in your stance, in your situation and circumstances, you choose what you believe will be best. There is nothing that speaks success like somebody who has failed, who thought they had failed before rise. So it's just an important perspective that you could have as a girl, out there, that when you reach campus, what was your goal? For me, it was just, initially it was just reach campus, but then when I reached campus, I felt it cannot just be written about me that I was there. I have to make sure that I conquer the land. So you have to just reevaluate, even with the children, even with the baby, even with, and I please don't abort, even with the abortions. What do you want as a person? If that career that you had wanted to accomplish is still standing as a valid point for you to fight, wake up. You can always go back and study. It may not be, you might have lost, I know of a lady who lost their opportunity at Makerere University, but they are pursuing their dream career in a different university. Maybe a cheaper, an affordable university. So it doesn't matter how you get there, just try to get there. Don't give up. You just cannot just be a mother, especially if you've come all this way. It's important to be a mom. People want to be mothers, and it's important as a role, but is that all that will be said about you at the end of the day? So you can break the stigmas. Education is still possible after giving birth, after mistakes, after retakes, after dead years. You can still go back. Makerere University has a period of 2 years. Even when you get a dead year, you can come back after 2 years and re-enroll. And even if you don't do that, you can come back and re-enroll as a new student. So it is, there are opportunities everywhere. So you just don't give up. And the other thing is very important, please don't go back to the village.
Stay in Kampala.
However tough it gets, do not go back to the village. If it is possible, stay around. Unless if it is the last resort and you're going to maybe, die or something. But if it is, every time you go to the village, you hide. Because people in the village are like, you left us, you're back, you're like us. And then you fall back into those habits of, you start cultivating like a woman who has been there all those years. You try to. So don't go back to the village. Even if you have the retakes, and there are so many, there are people who enrolled in 2011 and I graduated with them in 2023.
So you were not alone.
Practically, we are not alone. You are not alone. So when you just...
The bigger goal is for you to
do something about your life. And if education is part of that journey, try. Make sure you get there.
Wow. A big inspiration here from Doreen. And Doreen, talk about you're the director of Kamongo Community Development Foundation. So we see you after completing your graduation, and then director of this foundation. First of all, what is Kamongo Community Development Foundation?
Kamongo Community Development Foundation is a non-government organization that was set up or formed initially to just be able to support youth, especially in the areas of the urban areas. And in this space, we started this with Makerere University. We had so many friends of ours who were starting to get very addicted to tobacco and drugs. And so many ladies, like I said, I'm very passionate about women. So many ladies who either hadn't gone to school, and they're in the area of Makerere, hadn't gone to school, had dropped out in primary, and they were mothers. So we just wanted to be able to sensitize them, to be able to get to analyze their lives and also learn that you can have extra skills. We have partner institutions that we used to work with to teach these ladies how to tailor, how to make shoes, how to... So it is an NGO that helps youths especially.
So
We
what's
also
the story behind? I'm trying to look at your story.
yes.
It's like in line with what you're doing. Is this your inspiration? Is it your own story that you
It's
decided to do this?
it's a collection of stories. My own story is part of the many.
Yes.
It's just part of the many, but my story just is an example to share with others that, you know what, it's possible. You can always pick yourself up and because initially when Kamongo Community Foundation Development Foundation was formed, we were directly in politics, and we needed to just get these youths together and make them aware of what they have as resources, how they can come together as one and just fight poverty, addictions and all that. So it was one way of getting all the youths together. And we have been able to do that through other organizations as well. So right now, currently, I could say that we just run with ending GBV. That's one of our biggest thing. Because while we were doing that, we realized that women felt that, the women that we interacted with felt that some beating is not bad. Most of them, especially in urban areas, hide themselves when they are beaten. So we just wanted to reach out and like, you don't have to endure this. Yeah. You can either report, you can do something about it. You don't have to do it that way. So that was one of our biggest campaigns that we ran.
That's a very beautiful campaign. I think recently also there was a member of parliament, a woman member of parliament, who came out and said, you know, this and this is happening to me. So are you only looking at women? Because there's also the other side of women, men
who are being beaten.
Yes, being tortured in their homes, and we've seen couples, you know, killing each other.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's generally from a point. It started from a point of women because our best interactions were with women.
Women, yes. Men
are shy to share, but with men we were dealing with addictions because they were also becoming rampant, especially in Makerere University. The students were just, you know, students who failed to graduate in 2000 are still around Makerere University. And, you know, they have either lied to their village people that they finished and they are working. They cannot go back to the village, but they don't have anything in Kampala. So they are dealing with their frustrations of life in that way. So for the men, they were more open to share with addictions. Of course, personally, I haven't interacted with any man that has, you know, been beaten, but we know they are there. So it's just a call to men. It's okay to speak, you know, especially with NGOs. Maybe police might laugh at you, but I'm sure they also have some friendly spaces where you could actually share.
These issues are happening, and quite many recently. Doreen, you mentioned in the beginning that you're very passionate about financial independence of women. What exactly are you doing to see that we have many single mothers, mothers that, you know, left school, dropped out of school, young mothers? What are you doing in particular to see that these women are empowered?
So with the Little Todd store.
Yes.
That's where we empowered those women. So Little Todd Store is a project that started as a business, a survival business for me. In 2022, when I gave birth, I was working. But because it was a bit challenging, my workspace did not allow a lot of... just having the child, you know, taking care of the child, and you wouldn't really say, I'm not going to be able because of my child. So I quit and decided to start a business. I was like, let me just start a business so that I can be able to
concentrate
on the children as well as grow the business. But over time, like when we started Little Todd Store, it was just a space for women to either chill out, come and share experiences, buy clothes, shoes, and, you know, toys. I started to entertain women who had stress. And women would come in with stories that, you know, would touch your life. And you're like, if only they were a little bit more independent, you know, financially. She would make a decision that affects her and her children. But you realize that she's stuck in one position, she's stuck in one condition just because
She's not
what will I
yeah,
do
yeah.
if
Where
I
will I go
live
from
where,
here?
yeah, my children, you know. So it became a part of me, and it was a part of my story, because there's a time when I really felt I could have done better, but because I didn't have the finances, I was like, maybe
You had to stay.
I have shelter, I can eat, my kids are well taken care of, let me stay. So it's that point where I was like, okay, we could share this. So the mothers, whether it is stay-at-home mothers, I know somebody petitioned that we allow all people, men and women inclusive, but it's mainly mothers. You could either be a stay-at-home mom or a working mom, and you have some extra income out there and you want to invest. So we come together as women in groups of 5s. You pull that money together and you put in a business of your choice. And this for the first running, it was Little Todd Store. So I invited them as partners on board, and we pulled the resources. We started off, and we grew more stock and all that. So they get their dividends at the end of the year. But it's just running capital that helps you make sure that I have some money at the end of the year. So hopefully with time, more projects can come up like that, with maybe soap making or something like that. So that tailoring and soap making is something that I'm looking forward to do in the next few months, so that they are able to know that I have money, especially for stay-at-home moms. Because if you do a business by your own at home, then you some partners are not as supportive. They will start to notice that you have money, and they will leave. The Kameza money will no longer show up because you're starting to make money. Now use that money. So if we are investing this side on your behalf, he doesn't have to know, but you know. You know, and it's not just to create a woman who's rebellious or something, but it's just for them to be able to make decisions that affect them, but for the better.
Yeah.
Just give them a voice. Most women are stuck in situations because
they're not financially stable.
Where am I going to go?
Very big problem.
Yes.
So, Doreen, how many women are you dealing with, and how can more women? Because I know that the percentage of women going through what you're talking about is very big in Uganda.
Yes,
and
it's huge.
Many are silent, quiet, you know.
Yeah.
Suffering with everything, you know, all that. So, how many women are you willing to take on, and how do women, you know, get to you? Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just give you an interesting statistics. According to Kawempe, the Kawempe National Referral for Women, over 3,000 babies are born a week. Over. That means it could be 3,000 plus or something a week. And out of these, their mothers, out of the 100% mothers that have given birth that week, more than 50 are actually just going to go home and sit. Possibly like 30 are going back to work after 3 months, but most of them are going back home to sit. So they are stay-at-home moms. A few of them have income here and there, but generally the biggest population is sitting at home waiting for one income, the man's income, sometimes which is also insufficient. So it's just a call to women, really. If you could in your areas, I might not be there, if you could in your areas, just come together with a few people that you feel are trustworthy. Even that Mudala woman who sells tomatoes can be your point of investment. If she has been wanting to bring fish and she didn't have the capital, how much can you pull together, and then you do that? So that at the end of the week, you could do it weekly or, you know, monthly, whatever you choose as a system that works for you right there where you are, you know. How much can you be getting out of just putting 20,000, 40,000 into that woman who is selling for, you know, in our Kumudala? So it's important that we get to solve our social issues at home.
At home.
Yes. So for us, as Little Todd Store, if you want to join us, I have a telephone number. We have social media handles. But we are located in Perere right now. Yes, so we are located in Perere. Maybe the women around in Perere, or those that are maybe working or staying at home in other places, you could just, you know, you could call me. And you have a conversation around how you can partner and you grow your business, or how you would want to participate so that it's possible for you to have an income or a business that generates income for you.
So I'm even thinking, women that have, their circle, 1 to 5
Yes.
women. Can you offer, financial literacy
yes.
to these women, how they can grow into bigger,
Yes, I actually did business training from 2018 to 2020. I did business training, and I am certified under Living Business Education.
Yes.
So I could offer financial literacy.
Wow.
Yes.
So we can reach out to Doreen if you have, a circle of your women. Yeah. I know these circles are there.
Yes.
Small women are doing a lot to develop themselves. Yes. So you can offer, someone is here, she can offer financial literacy, business knowledge, how you can grow your businesses,
yes,
and how you can expand it. Okay, Doreen, so how do people reach you in case there is a group that needs these kind of services? Okay. Yeah,
you can reach me on 0701 83 95 08. That's always available.
Yeah. All right.
Yes.
Doreen has given you her number. If in case you need her for any financial literacy, business growth and development to your small group of women, she's here. She can offer these services.
Yes.
Thank you, Doreen. You're doing amazing. So in the beginning, I mentioned if you have a girl, who has made mistakes, who was conceived when she's still young, take an example of Doreen. She's here doing more and encouraging women. Yeah, which is really incredible. Thank you so much, Doreen. And as we wind up this conversation, how do you balance all this? You were a young mother, you had school, but now you're doing a lot. How do you balance, and how is your day like? How do you begin your day?
My day is pretty programmed, really.
Yeah.
I sleep knowing what I'm going to do the next day. But also, I consider these things that I do like projects. So I have teams that help me do all these projects.
People behind.
So currently, I know for motherhood, I know there's a teacher involved, there's somebody at home involved, plus myself. So at this time, they are at school, and then at certain time, they'll be at home, then I'll find them at home. For work, of course, there's also a team involved. So it's kind of... it's a day-to-day basis, routine-wise. Just figure out what you're going to do the next day, plan it ahead of time, inform whoever you're supposed to inform so that they're able to do their part as you're doing your part. So balancing is just a day-to-day thing, because if an emergency comes, you know how to fit in. Yeah.
Wow. And with your experience, your story is really inspirational. What are some of the key values that kept you going to reach where you are with all the challenges that you faced as a young woman?
I was resilient. I was determined.
Yeah.
And even when it did not look like it, I think I had the courage to do whatever was necessary to prove that I could do something. So for me, it is the resilience. And people said I'm strong. I think I was supposed to be strong.
Yeah.
And it just kind of came out. But also I knew that however hard I had fallen, I was supposed to rise. Those small whispers where people say, you're supposed to rise, So I knew I was supposed to rise, and I just usually wanted to find out, how do I rise? And if there was a way through, I cracked it.
You cracked it.
Yes.
Oh, wow. Very beautiful message. Doreen has said she had to rise, and this is Women Rise. If you have challenges, if you fall today, don't give up. You can rise and do better like Doreen. Thank you so much, Doreen, for coming.
Thank you for
And
hosting
lastly, to your people, or any word to your people or the girls who are watching you now?
Well, especially to the girls, my people, I'm coming. But especially to the girls, we can do more. Usually they say a woman is the mother, And mother is just not giving birth. Mother is being able to produce something. So whatever you are, whatever you touch, leave that motherly touch there. If it's a business, make sure they notice that your motherly touch is on it. If it is education, motherly touch. If it is a family, motherly touch. If it is whatever it is, just make sure that you leave a touch of femininity on it, because you're unique and you're set up to rise. And for my people, well, thank you for the support. Generally, really, thank you for the support. Cornerstone, my family, my mom and dad. I'm sure she will see this in December when I head to the village. But yes, thank you for all the support that you've given me all through. And for my teams everywhere, well, we can do this. We have done it before. We have plans to do better. We are hitting the roof this time.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. Thank you so much, Doreen, for sharing your story.
Thank you.
Yeah, this was a very beautiful story, very inspirational to the young girls. There's a lot that happens in society, but don't give up on your dream. You can rise up, as Doreen has said. To the people behind the cameras, thank you so much for always being here for us. And if you're watching us for the very first time, this is a Women Rise on Civic Space TV. Every Saturday at 3 p.m. we have inspirational stories like Doreen's story. And you can support this particular program by sharing the link with your family and friends. There is a lot to learn from these stories. And I believe if you don't pick something, someone else will pick something from this story. So if you share this link with your friends and family, you're helping another person in society. So we all want to be change makers in our societies. So start today and start from where you are. I'm called Naiga Madrin, your host. See you next week. Bye.